I think we're good. It's the villains talk show and podcast. Actually, it doesn't work with the music at all. Technically, it should be
Trying
like,
to.
it's the villains talk show and podcast. Hello and welcome to the Villains Talk Show and Podcast. It is another Wednesday night. And hello from the Great White North to all our viewers down in everywhere. Lots in the States, lots everywhere. Hello, everyone. I
It's
am.
not that way right now, though. It's like 30 degrees all week.
Oh, God. It's just hot everywhere. Down in the States where my sister is. My sister lives down in Austin. And,
you live by the equator, it's not too bad.
At 10:41 at night, it's 22
actually, no.
degrees out.
She
yeah.
doesn't live in Austin. She lives in Houston now. Gosh, she keeps moving all the way around to Texas. But apparently it's just dumb. It's just dumb there. Dumb and hot. I feel bad. Anyone out in Texas who's listening, I feel bad for you. It's the stupid hot times. So good luck. I am not your main host tonight, but I'm one of many. Our main host will hopefully join soon.
Soon.
Yeah, but I am one of them. I am C4. Joined as always by the Viking herself and Insaniac.
Yes. That's us.
The elusive gentleman's been elusive this week.
He was here last week.
No, but I mean, like, since then, like, he's been rather elusive.
That's normal.
That is the name base.
It's true. It's true. Like, I won't deny it. It's just, I'm a little.
It's like we forwardly thought about that.
And, like, D&D didn't happen because too many people are away, so.
True enough. But all those listening out in cyberspace and everywhere, first thing I'd want to thank are two Patreons, For the Wheel and Rujhala. As always, if you want to help support the channel or the podcast, it is just the Villains Talk Show. Either like, share, or follow us. Or you can go to Patreon if you feel so inclined, but no one's pushing you anything. It's just, a nice thing to do because it's nice to keep us going, and just listening to us keeps us going. The fact people listen to us is why we keep doing this. So, thank you all.
True.
Middle of this heat wave, I actually have a bit to talk about this topic too. But today, hopefully, when the greasy boy shows up, he will be able to lead us in this conversation. I think he suggested the topic to be post-secondary and learning. I have it written down here.
Specifically, like, applications.
If you're watching on the podcast or watching on YouTube or Twitch, the title of the stream is The Uncanny Valley of Learning. And I'm glad you laughed at that because of how true it is. So, because we are going, there's one thing that, funny enough, that we all have kind of an acute knowledge of, even in some facet, is learning.
All of us have gone to post.
Other have gone to post secondary or not. And
I think all of us have.
Well, or college or a technical school, and then the other one would be that there's possibility that one of us, as we have said in podcasts in the past, is a teacher. So even more uncanny valley of the learning. And now that our host is finally here, I can shut up And
Wait, I'm the host since when?
Since now, surprise!
It's like
I don't have the script ready.
Oh well, shit.
You were supposed to send me the script.
Probably, and another contract too, right?
Yeah,
Just
that
like
too.
I sent it to your agent.
Which one?
He's probably signed like 17 different contracts for agents, so you probably have to specify.
Probably just rolls a dice and just signs the contract. I pick this one. Yeah.
No. There's 4 different dice I roll.
That's not good.
Ooh,
All D7s.
One,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
roll
that makes
one,
sense.
roll the second one to multiply the first one, roll the third one to divide by the number of the second one, and then you roll the last one to exponent the entire equation, and then you write it out,
Exactly.
and that's what your number is.
Exactly. How did you know?
Daily exercises.
But yeah, what are we talking about?
the uncanny valley of learning, apparently.
Post-secondary, sir.
Our host is here, guys.
Cool.
Our host is here.
Remember the topic you picked?
No, I didn't pick any topics.
You
Amazing.
suggested this topic, my friend.
Oh,
I did
amazing.
no such thing.
This sounds like
That's true.
perfect timing.
Well, why did you want to talk
Yes.
about this?
Ice.
Why don't we start
about
there?
Like, actually, though, what is the topic?
Okay.
Post-secondary.
You did this.
Okay, there we go. Thank you. I didn't know what the topic
He said that already.
Thrice.
He said that already.
It's not like you gotta look
Yeah,
back.
right.
John said that already.
Mm-hmm.
No, he didn't.
Yes,
He
he
just said
did.
the uncanny valley of learning.
No, he said post-secondary afterwards.
I did not hear that at all.
Oh my goodness, you. Our host is so, ready.
You know, I'm a little out of practice. It's been like, what, a month and a half now?
That's true. Oh my god, I'm sorry. Welcome back. For everyone listening, Greasy Boys had to work. I'm so sorry.
It's true. We've been missing him.
So this is even better.
Actually,
We're throwing
not.
him back into the
He won't.
fire. He came back and we just threw him into the fire. Here you go, bud.
Okay, I got this.
Hey,
What's everyone's favorite
You wanted to
dinosaur?
start before he got here.
It's everyone's favorite
What's everyone's
dinosaur.
Dinosaur.
It's the topic today, I think. I don't know.
We said it. Oh my
No,
goodness.
you legitimately suggested because we were busy doing applications for school that we talk about that.
Oh, yeah,
Do you
that.
remember that?
Now I do. I didn't remember that.
Do you read?
You know, I
do
deal
you
with
read
different
our,
agents.
do you read our messages in the chat?
No, not at all.
Do you
The
at least read
messages
yours?
info.
So
No.
while we let our host catch up, I will start with my story about applying
There.
Oh my goodness.
since he's so young and
wanna
supple,
start this
a greasy boy. He is soon to be a greasy
Oh.
man. But until then, when
It's cool.
Gra-
That was creepy.
That was awful.
that was why I said it.
A little creepy.
That was awful.
That was just creepy, man. No.
And-
There's a difference.
anyway, I remember being told that when I applied to apply everywhere, if I have any kind of inkling, even if it's someplace I don't want to go, because universities talk, and at least because I applied to universities, I didn't go to a technical school or college. And so when I threw out, I guess, my CV, my this is how good I did in school, I threw them out to a multitude of different
Your
universities.
application?
Yeah. I actually got accepted to every place I applied to.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't get turned down by anywhere. Um,
Well, I think you had pretty good grades, right?
except in math. My math was 50%, but I didn't apply for any kind of science. I applied for arts, for liberal arts. Um, so I really had my pick of the litter. Uh, even then, um, just because I got to like the schools I wanted, they got back to me. Like I remember the school that I eventually went to. It didn't get back to me until early August, which means I was a fourth round because you apply usually around May, and then you look through the first round around June, and then the second round around beginning of July, and third round is mid
You did
July.
not apply around May. What are you talking about?
You can apply earlier.
For
No,
a
I said,
lot of programs, any program that's competitive, you have to apply in like October.
oh, I applied in like May.
Applications close in like January, February
Oh, you're
for a
right.
lot of
Sorry.
them,
Yeah. So yeah,
including the school we both went to.
that's right. I'm sorry. I am old.
Oh,
Give me a break. But you're
you're
right.
not that.
No, you're right. You're right. You apply in December. Um, but I
That sounds better.
but I applied. Yeah, because you applied in December, and then. But point is that I didn't get accepted until I remember this because I have the acceptance letter I chose. I kept it. I didn't get it. And it was dated for like July 29th or something, and I think I got it on August 3rd. So
Well,
and that was for and then I had gotten more like earlier, like months and months earlier. But my teacher at the time had told me, and I think I've said this on the podcast before, but it's a good thing to say. If you get accepted to a university, at least in North America, you have, I think it's a year to 18 months, depending on the school, to accept it. Some schools, it's even 2 years to accept that letter. If you don't right away, they'll fill your spot, but they don't rescind the acceptance. It just means that when you choose to accept it, let's say you got sent it and God knows what day, and like, oh, August, like the middle of August, you decide to accept it, and the school tells you they're full. That doesn't mean that you are no longer accepted. That just means they will tell you, like, oh, we'll just put you in the fall, or they'll put you in the spring, which means you miss all the activities with all the other freshmen and stuff, and you start basically 6 months later. Or at worst, they'll tell you, okay, well, if you accepted it, now you've accepted, we'll have you come in either in the fall of next year or the spring of next year. That's usually how they'll fit you in. They'll work with you. But the point is you don't have to rush. And that's why I eventually got to go to the school I wanted to, because I was in no rush to do anything. But let's look at a more fresh perspective on the applying process, Mister. This was my topic, so tell us what are you applying to? Tell us, bring us into your world.
Well, right now I'm finishing up my application for my student loans to be a education assistant.
he's gonna have the same job I do.
And what, pray
The
tell,
elder-
is an education assistant?
Shudder for the kids that are the classroom bowl.
It is a person who assists in education.
Yeah, that was exactly what I was about to say.
No fucking shit, eh? Holy! Oh my god! You know what? Our entire
You didn't
audience
say, did you?
collectively just
that was the most
are sitting out there
negative
going, "Holy fuck! You don't fucking say, right? Holy crap! Now I know
You're
everything."
welcome.
It's true though. Like it can look very different depending on what you're doing, what age group you work with, what school or district you work in. There's no one answer to that question. other than the one I just gave you.
So what's the difference between a teacher and an assistant?
The assistant
You
doesn't
get paid
teach while the teacher teaches.
Okay, but what if the teacher's sick? Does a sub come in and you still don't teach?
Yes, because you do not have a teacher's certificate, meaning in the province of Alberta you cannot teach.
That.
That sounds like a step, like something you do to become a teacher.
It
That's
does,
the
but it's
best
not.
part. They're not at all connected.
Nope. So, an education assistant mainly works with students with special needs. They, quite frankly, do a lot of the same work as teachers, but in different ways. So, perhaps instead of teaching the entire classroom, after the lesson is over, the EA might take the kids that they work specifically with and take them to show them how to use the same concept in a way that works better for them. That's one of many, many things we do.
Honestly, that sounds like a lot more supportive for the teacher than the overall thing, because teacher has to overall deal with the bigger aspect of the class.
Yeah, it's a
Focus
support
on
role. It's
unique
helping focus
cases.
on individuals and needs that are outside the scope of what the teacher can necessarily get all the time.
So do you work with, like, you said, like, special needs? Do you work with people that, like, have disabilities, or more like ADD?
ADD is a disability.
I'd say I feel like it could be both, because it's the same thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, more severe disabilities.
I think it depends on how experienced the person is, right? Obviously, if you're not capable of handling somebody that has like mild strokes in the middle of a class,
I
or
mean,
other different issues.
how do I say this? Actually, I'm a fucking villain. I don't care.
That
Are you
depends.
dealing
It
with kids
depends.
that are going to end up going to the same schools as everyone else, but they take the special classes? Or are you going to dealing with the kids that end up going to Alti?
Neither of those things really exist. Everyone. So
Get fucked.
there's this
C4.
wonderful thing called
Alti still
inclusive
exists?
education. Very, very rare.
I know. There's a whole entire high school in our city that's for Alti.
Which one?
It's called Alti.
The alternative high school.
Yeah.
That
Okay,
one.
yeah. That's a different. That's
Yeah,
something
I
else
don't
as
know.
well.
Thanks.
That's like a completely separate thing. It's not what you're thinking of.
But those are
That
for
doesn't
that, like,
necessarily mean-
to be as plain as possible. Those are for kids with disabilities and social anxieties, and different mental issues, and so that's why they go to Alti. And then you have the special classes in high schools for kids that are as intelligent as other kids. They just have physical disabilities. Like that's basically what I'm trying to ask is, like, is there a difference? Do you deal with kids with
Yes,
physical disabilities or
trying to
mental
ask
disabilities?
Question. You're crossing two different things here.
Okay.
So I
Straighten me out.
personally, right now, with the kids that I work with, are largely mild moderate, meaning that it's a lot of ADHD, it's a lot of anxiety. I've got one kid with Tourette's that I work with, but I wouldn't even know that if it wasn't written down. That's about it. They can be something completely different, though. If you're working in elementary, there's a good chance that you'll be working with kids who are violent, etc. Anything, really. If you're working with severe special needs, you could be helping kids go to the bathroom. That's not what I do, but it is within the same range of the same job.
But all those sounds like mental disabilities.
They can be. No, they're not always.
Everything you listed was, though. I just wanted to point that out.
Yes.
It's not like I have a friend.
In the bathroom. It can also be physical disabilities. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It's an umbrella that fits all things, kind of. Each situation is unique. That's the point of the job that makes it unique from the teacher.
Exactly.
like someone I used to know was an EA for a very like very different kind of school where all of the kids that in their class were like both physically and mentally disabled. So like there were times when they would have to change them and all that as well.
Yeah.
And that is one part of the, or that is one extent of where EAs are.
Yeah. It can mean a million different things.
That's the whole point of why it's like a big support role. I know the way I'm understanding it from the way you guys are explaining.
That's such a man. That's such a generalized role. So wait, you basically have to learn to teach and care at the same time.
Well, it depends on what you're working with.
I feel like those should go a little.
But
more
I mean, like when
than
you go
they
to
don't these
school,
days,
when
but-
you go to school, they have to. It's their job to try and prepare you for everything, which means you'd have to take care classes and teaching classes and tolerance classes.
Yeah.
A lot of
What
it
I set in for I set in for a student for a day thing, and for that whole thing, I was learning about like psychology for infants between the ages of 0 and 3. That's what that whole class was about.
Yeah.
I feel like there isn't much to fill in that. Would there be?
Oh, there's a lot.
Really?
There's
I don't
so
know
much.
much, but like I feel like there wouldn't be a lot of development between that time.
Oh, there's tons.
But I'm not.
plenty of
I
development.
haven't- so-
Yeah.
Does
Okay.
anyone else think of
Um,
like Homer's brother sitting there with Maggie, like making the machine that can convert her baby noises into words? Just some scientist sitting there with a notebook as a baby's like sitting there playing with a rattle. And it's like, seems quite stressed.
Well, as a parent, you should be kind of doing that as time goes on, right? But like, that's a funny visual.
Exactly.
Yes, this pacifier is suiting quite well.
Yeah, so I mean, what I do now is it's very different than like even what I've done in the past. At a previous job, I worked with kids with much more severe needs. One who was running away from home regularly. Some with some real like what's the word? Just defiance issues and ODD and things along those lines. Kids who weren't going to graduate.
And you work
Yeah.
in high school too. These are
For the
the
most part, yeah.
I feel like maybe like junior high would be quote the easier-ish like time to maybe work with, perhaps. Would be my guess.
I worked in grade 9 this year, so the end of junior high. It
Yeah.
just depends on the kids and what they need.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I just feel like early like elementary would definitely be like that stage of development. I remember sometimes those can be violent years,
man.
and then high school is just like that.
Elementary are more likely to deal with the really bad behaviors, the kids who are going to literally beat you up.
Yeah.
My mother-in-law has a pretty permanent injury in one of her shoulders from a kindergartner who wrenched her arm out of her socket while she was working because she does the same thing.
Yeah. Kids are pretty tough,
So-
man. Especially if you're a
By
lot
high
older.
school, they're less likely to do that and can get in significantly more trouble if they do hurt someone.
Well,
than
yeah,
a 5-year-old.
that's more the issue, right? But yeah.
Yeah. Ooh.
Those kindergartners, man. They're vicious.
Yeah, they're freaky. They're freaky.
They are.
Imagine a whole pack
I
of
do
them.
You could lose an
Imagine
arm.
imagine
Like,
being
actually-
a kindergarten teacher and all of a
Like-
sudden they all turn feral, all 30 of them.
Yeah, if a kid
Right?
bit you, you could lose your arm. That's how disgusting
Yeah.
kids'
You might have
mouths
to
are.
get out of that. You might have to get out of that kindergarten, like punching and kicking, booting kindergartens out of your way.
No,
That's
that's-
the only way.
Fair.
Pick up
Except
one
if
and
yes, you're not
pick up
allowed
one
to-
using it as a club.
Yeah, you're not allowed to do anything like that. You gotta stay calm.
You know what? If 30 kindergartens attacked me, I would pull out my phone, film it, and then beat the crap out of them just for proof. I'd be like, you know what? It was life or death, and I chose life.
Yeah, you would still end up in a ton of trouble, man.
I have.
Ooh.
I at least have a video to defend myself.
This one isn't
That's-
doing anything.
Just
That's
me
not
booting out
fair.
the window.
The points.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Field goal! So, okay, so what is the process? Because I remember thinking about it when I applied to university. You had to submit your grades. You had to submit your grades that were going to come for your next term. They said this out of high school. And you had to submit, with some universities, they wanted like references from different people. Some of them wanted had like a question or a couple questions you had to fill out and write like a little summary. Like, what is the application process like now?
Well, I don't know what the application process is like out of high school,
I figured, but
but as an adult returning, my grades didn't matter
adult?
because it's been 6 years.
Sometimes
Since
he's
I
more
grad-
of an adult than you, so I wouldn't laugh about that.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't taken my pants off on camera.
Exactly.
Who's done that?
You
No.
last week.
Who's
A
done
week
that?
and a half ago.
Yeah.
The last time we played D&D and we recorded it.
No,
Yeah.
we didn't.
You told me to look away, but you were literally recording it at the time.
That was recording.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
not
you
that
were.
dumb.
And... Well, then you lied to us. Anyways, continue.
But yeah, so I had to write a exam that took all of 3 hours, give or take. And then a week later, I was approved because I had all the knowledge I needed to do the course.
Thanks.
And then I just paid my fee to get my spot. And now I'm going through the process of getting student loans, my police check done, my child intervention check done, and my first aid and CPR training set up.
Nice. That's awesome.
First aid and CPR are easy. That's
Oh, yeah.
easy.
They are.
courses.
I haven't trained for it, but I already know most of that stuff myself.
Yeah, I get mine done next month at some point.
Do you know if
It's a
you're
2-day
doing any
course.
sort of like conflict resolution courses?
I do not yet, but I get all my textbooks right off the bat.
I did it was like within the school once I was already working. We did a non-violent conflict resolution thing where we learned all sorts of fun ways to de-escalate conflicts and if they were biting you, what to do about it without hitting the kid. So, if 30 kindergartners attacked you, you might actually have an idea of what to do that's not going to land you in jail.
I'm guessing the answer isn't bite them back.
I feel like
It is not.
Yeah, what
If
is the
someone's
answer?
biting you, you
Answer.
actually set them back on
Yeah.
their head and you shove it into you.
Wait,
Because it makes your job-
back up. Say it again. You cut out. Say that slower. All our viewers need
If
to know
someone
what
is
happens.
biting you-
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Viking's about to tell us what happens when a kindergartner is biting you. How to resolve this conflict.
Any child or person, you grab the back of their head and you shove it into you instead of trying to pull them
Yeah.
off of you, because it'll surprise them and it'll make their jaws release and you can get them off of you.
They teach that in
It's
animal
basically
training.
the same concept for anything else too. Like if someone is pulling your hair, instead of trying to pull them off, you grab their hand and push it into
You
your
push it
head.
towards them, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
no,
interesting.
towards yourself.
Yeah, you push it towards you, yeah.
Yeah.
I got
That way
trained
you
that when
have
I was
the
training
control.
my animal as well. When I got trained to teach my dog, they teach you when your dog bites
Yeah.
you, push your arm further into the mouth because it opens their jaw a bit more because they don't expect it,
Exactly.
and then you can pull your hand out.
Yeah.
I mean, sure.
Same thing if a
Well,
child.
as an update,
An adult.
Sure.
as
I mean, would you expect that C4 if you're biting somebody and someone sticks their hand further into your mouth and you're like, what the fuck? That would be an odd
I mean,
situation.
that just sounds kinkier.
Well, I guess that's what makes it weird, right? Is this the one? What way does this go?
Are you into this, or
Where's this
I can't
direction?
say
So maybe you shouldn't
I've
bite people of
ever
anyone
Probably
who
throw
has
everyone
worms.
off.
bit someone maliciously.
Fair.
Ever. That's not something that's ever happened in my life.
that you know?
I haven't for a long time.
Yeah, that you know.
Not since I was a child, at least, and it's been so long I can't remember. So I'm sure somewhere in there, maybe me and my sisters fought, and
I haven't bitten people maliciously.
You know, I don't think I'm happy with this conversation. Let's move on. I
Now,
don't want to get
consensual,
into
on the other hand,
here.
My application to school was interesting. I went to a technical college. To bring this back to the topic a little bit.
Oh, you
I
tried
did?
that
Did you? A
couple years
technical
ago.
college?
I didn't get in.
I did. I went to State Polytechnic, which is the Southern Alberta Institute of Technology, where they had a variety of classes from mechanics, engineering.
It's not the DeVry Institute?
No, it's not the DeVry Institute. I don't think that's in Alberta, is it?
There is a DeVry Institute in
Is there?
Alberta, yeah. There's a few.
I
Yeah.
didn't know. Okay. Well, no, I did not go to that. But
You're not Insaniac of the DeVry Institute?
No, I like that title, but no.
That
That does sound impressive. No, I went right out of high school. I had to set my grades and stuff. I ended up going for student loans. I wasn't really too enticed about it at first, but yeah, it is what it is. Paid them off already, which is nice. But like for me, school was like we had a new class every 3 weeks, and because I took cooking, like it was 30% theory and 70% practical. So you're actually in the kitchen
Cooking
cooking
theory.
and yeah, there's a lot more
Yeah,
into it
like-
than you think, man.
Well, you
There's a-
see,
oh, yeah, being a chef is
the
a
egg
great deal.
has 2 parts chlorine as long
This
with
is-
its carbon
this is actu-
lattice. And
is
so, if
actually
you cook it at certain degrees,
Did
you...
you just say-
You're correct. That is
Don't
actually
eat
part of the.
that.
Sorry, you cut out for a part of that.
I'm pretty sure he just said something about chlorine. Don't eat that.
No,
I think
there's
it's a
two.
carbon.
There's 2 parts of chlorine and like 8 parts
Oh,
carbon
okay.
in an egg or something. If you look
Yeah,
at
we
like
learned we did learn the chemical breakdown.
and
of
then
the egg.
and once you heat it up, as it hits certain degrees, the carbon lattice will break.
co-
And if you
the,
add
the proteins coagulate.
if you add sugars or salts, there's a different kind of creation. Now, if you were to do this with an iron-based pan over 500 degrees with an additive of sugar, what?
500 is too high. That's not feasible for my work.
I like to think that there's like
300
a
degrees.
think tank of like chefs that never cook because they just sit there
Oh,
and like around a table and they have like all these hugely complicated
If you
chemical
wanna know what that's
equations.
called.
I was gonna say typically they're terrible chefs.
And
like,
they're
in,
just-
in practical
And they're
use.
just
Theory is
sitting
great,
there
but they're super
thinking
smart,
about theoretical dishes.
Yeah, that's actually a thing. So, like, for those who are familiar who took cooking classes, there's this guy named Alton Brown who was on the Food Channel. I got to see that in my cooking classes. He would teach people like, he did like basic recipes, but all of his food was awful. But his recipes were sound. He was just an awful cook, but he's a really great chef. Like he knows his shit about like molecular, like his specialty ended up
So
being
he's just a
molecular
chemist.
gastronomy.
He's
Pretty
just-
much. He's a food chemist. That's
He's a
his thing,
food
pretty much. Right? So he talks about
That's
like
what
how,
those people are. Yeah.
how
Food
certain
chemistry.
ingredients affect the food differently, how the breakdown of certain food it breaks down in a certain way over
So
time.
you can
how
either
adding
go to a
different things
technical
adds
school and become a chef, or to go to a technical school, take food theory, and then go to university and get a master's or PhD
Yeah, in chemistry or
in food
sciences,
theory.
right? Yeah. That's legitimately a thing, man. Like, and like these guys work. These guys currently are like helping NASA try to figure out how to make food to travel through space and last the shelf life through travel, right? How to actually be sustainable in space. Because nobody wants to eat MREs in space, right?
If the gravitational pull of the Earth and the Moon is acting upon the shuttle and the
How do you eat soup in space, bro? It's not easy. You drink it through a straw.
Yeah, you drink it through a tube, actually.
Yeah,
Because with a straw, you're screwed because it gets everywhere.
yeah.
instead
Yeah,
of
you have a little food.
Really scary.
instead of freezing.
Effective as of July 1st, Florida is now giving 5-year temporary teaching certificates to military veterans and maybe their spouses.
Oh, perfect! I should just go to Florida.
Without any... Yeah, me too.
Odd,
I can
but
go
yeah.
to Florida. Oh, wait, I'm not a military veteran.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say,
But, like-
you're a military vet?
Like, people...
That's
yeah,
amazing.
the
I love that.
Asian background.
I love
that's
that.
awful.
Oh my god.
Thing.
No, this is so great. This is actually everything I've always ever wanted. Oh, we are flipping the... I've always wanted more guns in schools. Always. I wanted more professionals that know how to handle guns in schools. I've always wanted that. And now you have them. Now you have some asshole who's going to be like, oh, I'm going to go shoot up a school in Florida. And he's going to walk up to the school and he's going to think to himself, wait a second. Isn't there like a bunch of ex-military guys inside the school that are teachers? Oh, fuck it. I'm going to go shoot up the school anyway. And all of a sudden, this fucking school teacher runs out who actually been in a fucking war, takes the gun from him and bashes his fucking face in. And then everyone's like, oh my god, the teacher actually did something because they're a military vet and they're not scared of some douchebag with a gun. I am so happy about that. Holy fuck, that's great news.
It sounds to me like you don't have a lot of respect for teachers.
No, I don't have a lot of respect for assholes with guns. I'm mostly cops, but I have a lot of respect for military vets. No, what do you think a teacher's gonna sacrifice themselves for kids?
It's just their policy to protect the
Well,
children.
for one
in that
thing,
sense,
I don't
right?
think they should be in a position where they have to. For
Yeah,
another thing, there is literally an ongoing debate in many places right now about requiring teachers to carry guns in the classrooms.
yeah, it's a
And
Yeah.
Well, this
For
is
a
a better
thing.
option. If they're gonna make the
It-
teachers carry guns
don't
and
disagree.
now make
yes,
some of the
because
military vets.
in case that scenario happens, all of the children should get a shitty education from people who have no idea what they're doing. Great.
I think it's
yeah,
more
There's a
you give
level of to it.
you you play it fair, right? So you have a bunch of physical education teachers. You put them back. You put these military vets through like a year or two of schooling for kinesiology, basic kinesiology degrees. So they do,
Still,
and not all of them are
education-
stupid. Like if you're in the military, right, you get an education.
You're fairly intelligent, yeah.
You're given a free education. So I would like to think that all these military guys or girls that have these free educations that they get because they're put through university because of the military, that they now have degrees. So now they can teach at least somewhat of a field on a basic level. I'm not saying they take all the jobs of teachers. I'm just saying.
You're missing what I'm saying. You're missing what I'm saying. Florida is saying, you're a military veteran, you don't have a degree, cool, go be a teacher.
I mean, yeah, for the specific thing.
You're missing the point entirely. These are people who don't know what they're doing, who haven't been taught, who haven't been educated, who don't know how to be teachers, are just being given the choice of,
What did
go
the
be a
article
teacher
say?
now.
Wait, hold on. What was the actual title of the article?
As a-
I don't know.
On a side note, I would like to see teachers get some kind of training to defend. I think that's something that should be a thing. Because these things have happened.
do.
I don't know the level of it, but yeah. I'm not a
And
teacher.
teachers are responsible for a lot.
I know, yeah.
It's
I'm not
really
trying to put I'm not
fun.
putting it in a way that's flack or like trying to add to the plate. I just mean like yeah. I don't know. I'm not here to solve that problem. I'm just saying.
This is probably June 22nd. Help veterans get jobs. Signs bill on Thursday. Blah blah blah. get jobs or advance their education once they leave service, including among the new laws will supplement federal benefits for disabled veterans attending state universities or government-run career centers, allow state agencies to substitute military experience for post-secondary education, and allow vets to obtain civilian jobs required the Department of Business or Professional Regulation to expedite licenses application active duty military spouses. Blah, blah, blah. Applied to be the governor. Blah, blah, blah. Signed a bill at Fort Walton. Do we have more information?
So, the state's Department of Education currently expects veteran candidates without degrees seeking teaching positions to have at least 60 college credits and a baseline 2.5 GPA. So they have to have half a degree. They need to pass the subject area examination for bachelor level subjects as well. In addition, their service needs to amount to 48 months in the military with an honorable or medical discharge. If hired by a school, they're required to be supervised by a teaching mentor. That's actually surprisingly decent, but it's still not great.
I'm still for it. It's a step in the right direction.
I don't disagree. I don't think it's a terrible thing. I do think it requires a bit more nuance. Like, I do agree with what Sarah's saying. But I do think it's
there's a reason why teachers go to school.
Yeah.
There's a reason why teachers learn how to teach.
But they're also not just giving them degrees.
Yes, they are. They're not giving them degrees. They're giving them classrooms full of children.
They're dropping the requirements.
But they're making them get credits. They're not just throwing them into classrooms just because they're vets.
They're not making them get credits in anything in particular.
It's half. You said it yourself. It's half a degree at least. That's 2 years.
You could go to school and get 60 credits in business, and then go teach 3-year-olds how to spell words.
Business. Teach the kids business. Start them young.
3-year-olds. That's all right. Grade 3. That's what I was going for.
But in the United States, just like anything, the school system you have to apply, right? So if you're gonna apply to be a kindergarten teacher and you're a military vet, they're gonna look at you and be like, "How about you teach someone a bit older,
a little older?"
There is still levels of oversight.
I feel like there's a nuance there that should be there. If it's not listed, it should be there.
High school math are going to go walk in and teach high school math. Again, there's a reason teachers go to school.
What if they were like, you're assuming the vet's just an idiot? What if he was a technical? What if he worked on fucking tanks, some of the highest pieces of equipment the military has, and he gets to go teach math? I'm pretty sure he can teach fucking math if he has an engineering degree. Like, if he has you know what I mean? He has an engineering degree. He has to go back 2 years to get a teaching degree, and now he can go teach math. Sure, he's not exactly the best teacher, but he knows how to teach.
You have to go back 2 years to get the teaching degree.
Exactly. He gets the teaching degree. Yeah. It is expedited. He's not the best teacher, but I would never. But like, I'm not saying everyone's like that, but you have when it says military veteran, there's so many jobs in the military than just being a grunt.
Where? It has nothing to do with who this person was in the military and everything to do with the fact that now you have people who have no idea what they're doing. It's literally just throwing a body into the classroom and saying, good enough.
But in the States, you also have a real fear for teachers. How many teachers are asking schools and governments for more money that they don't have for protections in schools because of all the school shootings? You have, it goes back to that idea, they have to be protected too.
They teach their soldiers a lot all the time, right? They have a hierarchy, so training is not something it's obviously not the same fucking thing, and very clearly it's a different thing. So I'm a bit of both you guys. I 100% agree a little bit for both you guys here. I'm just in that sense that it's a very nuanced, unique situation, right? So it depends on who it is, and then it depends on what the school's doing to oversight it. There's a lot that's probably not being said, I would imagine. And it just depends on the situation.
I am giving a lot of credit to schools and the governments in the United States, but I still think it's a step in the right direction in the end.
I think so too.
Personally. I think it
just needs a little bit more.
It's the most Floridian decision, and I think it's one of the best ones, because you're not going to be able to put more guns in schools without having all of the United States and North America and the world basically stand up and be like, "Are you
Yeah.
fucking kidding us? You're putting more guns in schools." Instead, they're going around just like, "Okay.
We'll have military trained professionals in school.
We're gonna have military trained professionals in schools. We don't have guns, but we have the next damn best thing." Like,
Yeah, if you have a dude who pretty much is a gun in itself that can take down most people with hand-to-hand combat.
and rather than just pay them for nothing, Florida's trying to be somewhat.
And a lot of these people too that are trained in military learned how to disarm people. They're not
And
meant
let's
to
be
just
fair, when you think
smash somebody's
smart,
face in.
intelligent, incredibly intuitive, and cutting edge of the world, even individually, does
Military
Florida
isn't
ever come up in your mind in any of those?
That's a fair
Does
statement.
that mean that the children
that's-
who live in Florida deserve a bad education?
Definitely not.
A
I think
less than ideal education?
there's a hand-in-hand thing that needs
I
to
think
happen.
there
Those
are
kids
kids who have way
in
less
Minnesota?
than the people in Florida who probably deserve an education more than they do. I am willing to say that.
That's-
I think there's people out in the world, out in the third world, wherever, that probably deserve education more than some of the than people in Florida.
We need to stop this topic before I get really upset with you.
I'm sorry. I am.
I mean, for an update, I finished filling out my forms,
Good job! That's exciting!
and I got approved for everything.
Yay! For student loans and stuff?
Yeah, finished up the Canada account and all that.
Awesome. Those things can be a huge pain, just government paperwork is the worst. Every single thing
Yeah.
has a different account. Every single thing has to have a different login, and why can't it all just be one?
bring,
That'd
like,
be ridiculous. That'd make it easy.
to round out kind of what I
Exactly.
was saying with my cooking stuff. The one thing I really liked with the cooking stuff is you could take that so much, like what John was saying with the food science. You could take that really to any industry. Like you could be a big, like beekeeping was something they were going to teach in my school. They taught ice sculpting in my school at one point in the cooking class.
Dude,
Right?
you can take education anywhere. Like,
Oh, I know that. What I mean, yeah, exactly, right? That's what I liked. That's what I liked for
Admin,
cooking
that's
because
cool.
a lot of it laid the bare of basic stuff. Because being a cook, you kind of have to understand food. Understands a lot of what that touches and where it goes to, right? And that's people, that's lands, that's cultures.
I was thinking
That's
more like
homes.
if
you know?
if the Viking or Greasy Boy wanted to, they could just go anywhere. They could
Oh,
go
yeah.
to any country in the world.
Oh yeah, that's exactly right. That's why I
Like-
picked being a cook,
like-
and being a teacher is a great job
Oh,
for that
dude,
too. You could go to
You
any
can
place
go to
in the world
any
and
place in the
find a
world
job.
and find a job
Yeah,
instantly.
yeah. That's what I
And-
thought. That's
and easy.
exactly why I thought to be a cook. It's like everywhere I go, anyone will need a cook, and anywhere you go, anyone will need a teacher.
Before. Earlier, you were talking about how it sounds like all the things I work with are mental disabilities. They're not. I forgot about this. A few years ago, I was learning Braille and teaching it to a kid.
Really?
Who was
That's cool.
in new school.
Wait.
That is cool.
Wait. So when you say you were learning Braille and teaching it to a kid, there's two ways I imagine this. Either it's like a summer before, and you know he's blind, or he's disabled in that way. He has weak eyesight, and so you're sitting there like learning Braille. So when you teach this kid, you actually know Braille at least somewhat, so you can teach him. Or I imagine it's like you have your lesson plan every week, and like a week but you make your lessons plan like a month ahead, and so you're trying to stay a month ahead of this kid.
That's actually sort of what it was. I was asked to do it in September when school started.
Ooh,
Um,
so you had to.
They set me up with like a course. I just had to kind of stay ahead of her. It worked. She didn't get all that far. She really hated learning Braille. She didn't want to accept that she was going blind, which is fair, because who would?
Was it? That's actually really sad. So she
Mhm.
could
She
still,
was 12.
and she, oof.
Yep.
And I'm guessing she could see, and her eyesight was just going.
Her actual eyesight was reasonably decent. The problem was I don't remember what it's called, but it essentially gave her like pinhole vision that was slowly getting smaller.
Oh
They
shit! Like
discovered it
So it was deterioration.
on a kid, like she stepped on a baby
oh,
because she didn't see
She's
it.
ah.
Yeah,
That's rough.
so it was a progressive. Yeah, it was a progressive situation where eventually she will lose her vision.
Sad. That's
Yeah.
sad. That'd be rough to deal with at 12 too. And that she
Mhm.
probably knew like a year and a half earlier. Oof! Imagine
Something like that, yeah.
Imagine the parents having to tell their kid that. Oh,
Uh, Actually, it's genetic, and when they found it out for her, they also found it out for her dad.
oh, that's a surprise.
Yeah,
at least she wasn't alone.
yeah,
That's
definitely.
that's kind
But
of
yeah, anyways, just another thing that I suddenly realized.
that's
Yeah,
crazy.
it literally being gay can mean literally anything.
I wonder.
You know,
So you're
like,
basically
Daredevil,
healthcare
Blue
workers, but you're
Ranger,
not. You're healthcare teachers, but you're just.
No, education work.
but like PSWs in a sense, right?
But
Personal
you're.
support workers.
Yes, probably.
Yeah, you're more like
That's what
support
they have
workers.
they so in elder care homes, this is what like I got to
Education
see
support.
when I was working at a elder care where people that were called PSWs, they worked with individual, they weren't like nurses, they worked with individual unique cases. They would go from room to room and just check up on like they're the ones that know like, oh, this is so and so, and they like bread or they like pudding or whatever, right?
I mean, sure, you
If a child
focused.
requires, then there will be a nurse. That is a separate thing.
Yeah, no, exactly.
But they're
It is
not.
completely,
They're not
even
a
in an elder
nurse.
home, it's
Yeah,
completely
they're.
a separate thing.
Yeah, they're not a nurse. It's.
They're
I'm
not
not.
a nurse. Yeah,
I understand why you keep going back to
they're just a
education,
support worker.
but in reality, it's not like the parents are there. It's not like there's. It's not like there's an actual nurse or a care worker there, right? There isn't just a.
Well, there might.
There can be.
I'm sure there can be.
Yeah.
But in most cases, or at least a good number of cases, there isn't one, right?
Yeah.
So in one sense, yeah, you're a
That kind of
support
makes you
worker.
them.
You
Yeah.
support these children as they grow and learn, and you support their learning.
Yes.
I mean, you call it education worker,
they're
sure,
able
like yeah, that's a
Learn it,
title,
and
but
that's looking at very
to-
unique
to-
situations.
to-
Same
right?
thing.
I think I just think it's not. Yeah, it is kind of the same thing. It's just support workers work with elderly, and they work with older
Yeah.
people. But you guys
And-
work with
and
more
because of
development.
elderly, they have
You could
more
even.
health
I would
care
even
kind
say
of
the
stuff,
more
right?
accurate title for your guys' job would be developmental support workers.
Yeah, that makes sense. I would agree.
That is job. It's a different job.
Yeah,
Sounds about the same though. But
it's actually another for my school, anyways. It's another 6-month program on
Yeah,
top of
it's-
the
it's
education
completely
assistant program,
different.
which is
Yeah.
a human resources kind of thing. It's more like social work and social justice and all that on that end.
yeah,
Mhm.
so it's probably a different level of updated policies and things, right? It's probably the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Different state.
I almost feel like they named
Right.
it
Teachers need the language has changed because it's more inclusive of many different things.
I was gonna say I think they almost call it educational assistant because they ran out of names.
Yeah,
Sometimes
Sometimes just
I
for these
could
promotions.
I could see just a bunch of people, like maybe 2 or 3, sitting there, like, okay, so what are we gonna call this? This one. No, we already called that something else. What about this one? We called that something.
yeah, we use that one.
What the hell does
that
this
one,
mean?
That one's already
And
a
then
different
they're like,
country.
oh, okay. They just sit there for like 2 hours.
We gotta come up with something in like.
We have
different,
educational
Our
assistants.
job be there to make sure that education is equally accessible for all the kids.
Well, that makes sense. Like I got that.
Yeah.
So for every kid, that means something different.
So as we're running out of time, I'll ask you, Sarah, since you've dealt with most of this, at least because you've have it and you've done with it longer. Have you ever, or do you often deal with kids who are beyond where they are. Someone who is referred to your educational assistants, but after working with them for a little bit, you realize that this child, whatever age they are, the reason that they're having problems is because they are just too intelligent. They just,
Oh, so you mean like a gifted kid?
yeah, like unbelievably gifted and just doesn't give a fuck because they're just bored as shit.
That's pretty normal.
Yeah.
It
Really,
happens.
it's pretty
I've
normal.
got one.
I was a gifted kid.
Yeah, I was a gifted kid. But
Say I was pretty intelligent. I just
it's
didn't give a shit
yeah,
in
like
school.
I've got one. He's brilliant. He just also has crazy ADHD and can't keep control of his own brain. He wants to be an astronaut, and I honestly think he could do it.
No doubt. Put your mind to it, man. Eventually you'll get there.
And this is an often
Especially
occurrence.
early on.
Sorry?
This is often. You said
It's,
this kind of thing happens often.
it's not unusual.
Okay. Because I knew a kid in high school once, a long time ago, and I only knew him for a year because he left our high school. It was a public one, and he went to the private school. And by the time it was grade 11, he had already graduated because he finished school in like
Yeah.
a year. And
Yeah,
Yeah.
that,
last I heard,
it's not like, but it's not crazy uncommon either.
I was gonna say, last I heard, he was working at like at like Berkeley or something in like theoretical physics, and I was like, because I have him on Facebook, and I'm like, holy shit, dude, just stupid smart. But everyone thought he was dumb because I knew him. I remember all through junior high, he just didn't. He pretty much slept all the classes and just did not care. But he somehow kept passing everything.
Gifted kids to act.
I hate the mathematics when it comes to physics. It's so longhand.
I love it.
I don't.
That's the point of
dude.
it, though, so that way you know you're right.
Well, it makes it so you can quantify and prove every step, right? But like,
I thought
it's so frustrating.
physics was really hard, but my dad showed me
Oh, there's worse. Yeah, their math gets harder.
the two worst kind of maths are theoretical maths, 'cause that's just quantum maths. That's ugh.
Yeah.
And
quantum
then
math, yeah.
below that, what he had to do, because he has a master's in economics, and he showed me economics, his economics
Yeah.
master's final, and all it is just this one small equation that's like maybe like a line long, and then he has this booklet that's almost 400 pages, and it's almost completely filled with just long written math equations of him unpacking this and solving it. And he's like, that's just economics. And I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah, financing math is painful. I was gonna take finances. I looked into that business, and then after I kind of looked into it, I kind of had that vibe of it. Like that looks like a lot to really deep dive into. I'm like, I just want to know how to maintain a business, and
I
just
also
decided
almost
to
got
pass.
into finance.
Opportunity
Math was too
cost,
hard.
my friend, and utils. Just look up utils. Once you learn all
Yeah.
about utils, you'll know how to run a business. That being
Well,
said,
No, I know how to run a business pretty easy.
I think the Grease Goblin is going to be an amazing EA.
I
I think
so
he's
too.
the perfect kind of person.
I think he'll be the.
And then a week in, I lose an arm to a kid.
I feel
Possibly.
like you'll
Yeah.
have one of those.
A
you'll have one of those
4-year-old,
stories one
a
day.
gang of 4-year-olds jump on you because you.
Oh no! Like if a child bites your arm, you need to get that like cleaned instantly,
Yeah.
or you run the risk of losing your arm.
Yeah, you get sepsis. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, kids are disgusting.
They are. Imagine a bunch of them. Not even zombies. They just attack
That's
you.
why I'm aiming for junior high, high school.
Yeah, I feel like junior high.
They've got their issues, but they're very different.
I remember junior high. God. Good luck.
Just food out of my locker.
Anything we want to end on?
My cat is being especially cuddly at the moment.
I noticed the other ones in the
Thank you.
background.
Yep. That one in the background caught a bird for the first time ever today. We're not really sure how. He was on a leash and everything, so
Nice.
Being a black cat.
he looked
He was
Yeah,
tangled up
nice
under the
country.
table, right?
yeah.
All right. Well,
Life finds a way. That's all there is.
thank you all for watching. It's been a great.
And remember, stay in school.
Thank
That
Yes,
was
you.
the Greasy Boy with Insaniac, the Viking, her many cats, and I am
All
C4.
37.
I am sorry, nothing better to do, but I'm glad you spent it with us here at the Villains Talk Show and Podcast. Catch us next Wednesday for another podcast. Catch us anywhere you catch podcasts on the podcast realm or online. Follow Pander. Blah 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 blah.
Some stuff.
And make sure to check out the link tree.
Always the link tree.
It's everywhere.